The frustrating thing about Dexter's 6th season is that it feels like it's trying to be good. There are moments that seem to come from the right place, like the attempt to build a thematic arc throughout the season, something that worked so well in earlier seasons, particularly seasons 1 and 4, but this time, it never quite lands. Season 6 tries to challenge Dexter's identity as a man of science by introducing themes of religion. Sounds interesting, right? The problem is, there's never a moment where Dexter genuinely questions his beliefs. The season flirts with the idea, but never commits, leaving the theme feeling half-baked. And the frustrating part is, the tracks were there for a deeper exploration. Remember when the kid in the junkyard sees Dexter out of the trunk of a car? That child actually had Jesus drawn as the person who quote-unquote saved him. That moment could have been pivotal, something that shook Dexter enough to make him question his own worldview. Or take season 2, when Dexter has that voodoo guy on his table. Dexter was threatened by his supposed curse and couldn't go through with the kill right away. Moments like those could have been woven into season 6's religious themes, creating more compelling internal conflict for Dexter. Then, there's the weird fascination this season has with the idea of celebrity murderers. At one point, they hint at a storyline where Dexter idolizes the Tooth Fairy, so much that he keeps a scrapbook dedicated to them. Now that could have been fascinating, a dark dive into Dexter's psyche, but instead, they toss that concept away like it's just another crime of the week. It's like they had all the ingredients for a great season, but kept burning the dish.
Oh God.
This is Dexter Season 6, Doomsday. Once upon a time, Dexter was one of the smartest, most compelling shows on television. All this in a time when you had quite a few choices for more of the same. But Dexter was a psychological thriller that took you inside the mind of a serial killer with a code. It was dark, it was bold, and it kept audiences hooked. And then we got this.
He's my brother.
Yet you're not biologically related.
Season 5 was one with potential, but ultimately left most of us without whelm. What happened? How did Dexter go from peak television to whatever this was? Well, my friends, today we begin our journey into the downfall of Dexter, starting with Season 6, the season that should have been great, but wasn't. Before I go any further, be sure and click the like and subscribe button to join us for future content. And please let me know what your thoughts are on the later seasons of Dexter. Section 1, Thematic Failures. Season 6 promised us an exploration of faith, morality, and whether Dexter, a man who kills by a rigid code, could ever find redemption. That sounds great, right? Well, too bad. Because instead of a deep thematic journey, we got religion as a spooky backdrop, a gimmick to make a generic villain seem more interesting, a shallow exploration of religion. Dexter questioning faith sounds interesting, but the show never commits. Instead, we get some half-baked, maybe he has a soul, but that idea goes nowhere. Faith in Dexter Season 6 is like background noise, present, but never really explored. The Doomsday Killer's thematic incoherence. Travis Marshall, played by Colin Hanks, is a religious fanatic who thinks he's carrying out the Book of Revelation. But here's the problem. His faith never means anything to Dexter. There's no real contrast between them. We could have had a killer that truly believed he was saving people, while Dexter was just eliminating threats. Instead, we got crazy guy with imaginary friend. Season 6 is really the beginning of Showtime/Dexter wanting to spoon-fed the audience and not trust them to be challenged. And it may not be the worst instance, but it's the first time I felt insulted by this show and its premise. Brother Sam's a missed opportunity. Most deaths, Brother Sam could have been an incredible counterbalance to Dexter. At times, they even flirt with the idea that it is. A reformed criminal who found peace through faith. Someone who actually challenges Dexter's worldview. But nope. Show kills him off early, making his entire arc feel like a setup with no payoff. A red herring. The Geller twist is meaningless. And here's the big twist of the season. Professor Geller is actually dead the whole time. Are you still here? This isn't Fight Club. It's not even a good copy of Fight Club. It's just a reveal that changes absolutely nothing. When you think about the fact that Dexter already has Harry, I don't know if they thought twice the fun, but it doesn't give anything extra to us, the audience. It doesn't deepen Travis as a character. It doesn't change Dexter's trajectory. It's just there for the audience to go, oh, I guess that's a twist. No one's motivated to go back through the episodes and go, oh, they were telegraphing this the whole time. Once watching it on a rewatch, why did I do that? You can see that they were leaving the hints there for you for the absolute nothing that they showed at the end anyway. The absence of moral dilemmas. Remember when Dexter thrived on making him choose between bad and worse? When Dokes, Miguel Prado, or the Trinity Killer forced him to make complex decisions? Yeah, well, season 6 says screw that and just has Dexter chasing one-note villains. There's no real challenge, no real stakes, just filler. And a setup for that season finale.
Oh, God.
Oh, God, indeed. Brother Sam. The problem with Brother Sam is he doesn't change Dexter in any real meaningful way. For a season that pretends to explore faith, you'd expect Brother Sam to have a profound impact on Dexter. He sort of does for an episode, or half an episode, or 10 minutes of an episode. But despite being one of the most compelling new characters of the season, he ultimately changes very little about Dexter's worldview. If you discount Brother Sam in this season, from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, what is new in Dexter? By season's end, the interaction with Brother Sam really leaves nothing to Dexter as a whole. He's basically the same guy he was for the season 5 finale. Dexter respects Sam, but never internalizes his beliefs. Brother Sam tells Dexter that even people who seem to be beyond saving, including himself, can't find redemption. He tries to get Dexter to believe in a higher power, or at the very least, the power of personal change, not his higher power. Dexter seems to respect Sam, but never actually considers his philosophy in any serious way. Sam's death is emotionally impactful, but thematically hollow. Sam is tragically killed by one of the ex-cons he tries to help, reinforcing the idea that his faith-driven path is futile. His final words to Dexter are about forgiveness, but Dexter immediately ignores that message and murders Sam's killer in cold blood. This makes Sam's entire arc feel like it was just there for drama, rather than actual character growth for Dexter. Again, faith as a theme is just there for gimmick. The show flirts with the idea of Dexter questioning his own beliefs, but it never goes anywhere. Instead of developing Dexter's spirituality, or even making him struggle with faith, the show uses religion as the set dressing for the season's villain, Travis Marshall, and his apocalyptic killings. And this season ends with Dexter in the same place as where it started. Still an atheist, still a killer, still unchanged. But Deb is kind of into him now and now knows that he's one of those things. Brother Sam could have been the most compelling part of Dexter Season 6, serving as a real counterbalance to Travis Marshall's twisted interpretation of faith. But instead of being a mentor figure who forces Dexter into a real crisis of belief, he's just a temporary side character whose death barely affects any of the story. His arc is a red herring in more ways than one. The show initially makes him seem like a potential villain, only to reveal he's now harmless. The show pretends he will change Dexter, only for Dexter to learn nothing. This is one of the biggest reasons Season 6 falls flat. It introduces an interesting thematic conflict, faith versus Dexter's code, but never commits to exploring it in any meaningful way. Would you have preferred a version where Sam's the main antagonist? Maybe someone who does relapse into killing, but justifies it through faith? That could have been way more interesting than Travis. There were missed opportunities for Dexter to struggle with faith in Season 6. Make Brother Sam's influence stronger. Instead of killing Brother Sam so early, let his presence linger throughout the season. Show Dexter seeing genuine, positive change in people Sam helps, making it harder for Dexter to just dismiss faith as superstition. Let Dexter start to want to believe, even if it's just a subconscious longing. Again, you could pay off some of the things that have been alluded to in earlier seasons of Dexter. Give Dexter a moment of crisis. There should have been a moment where Dexter needs faith to make sense of something. Maybe Harrison gets sick or nearly dies, and Dexter finds himself praying, even though he doesn't believe in God. Maybe Dexter kills someone he thinks is evil, only to find out they were innocent, forcing him to wonder if he's been playing God. A villain who tests Dexter's spiritual limits. Travis Marshall was weak because his religious motivation was just a gimmick. Great props, Travis. Real creepy. But imagine if the antagonist was someone who truly believed they were saving souls by killing. Someone who forces Dexter to argue against faith, even as he secretly wonders if it's wrong. If Travis had actually been a former addict or a criminal saved by faith, instead of just a delusional puppet, Dexter would have had to confront whether or not he could change. There's a way to do this without making Dexter suddenly become religious. Maybe he does try to believe, goes through the motions, but realizes it's just not for him. Instead of dismissing faith outright, he could land on the idea that people like Brother Sam need it to stay on the right path. Again, using some of the past of Dexter's seasons. He's been in AA, we've seen that. They believe in a higher power. Even if he personally doesn't, he could recognize that others do need stuff like this. This would enforce Dexter's code as his faith, even if it's built on logic rather than divine belief. What we got instead? A shallow approach to religion. The season pretends Dexter is questioning faith, but never really challenges him. Brother Sam is removed too early, and Travis is a non-factor in Dexter's moral journey. The only time Dexter even engages in the idea of faith is when he mocks it or when it serves as a surface-level plot device.
You used God.
By the end of the season, Dexter hasn't grown at all. He's exactly the same as the beginning of the season. Narrative and execution failures. All right, let's talk about execution. Because even if the themes fall flat, Dexter could have salvaged something with good storytelling. It's happened in the past in this show. Unfortunately, it didn't happen in season 6. Again, the Geller twist is painfully obvious. Anyone with eyes that has seen any other thriller media in the last 25 years figured this out. By episode 3 even, Geller never interacts with anyone but Travis. This show drags this out like it's some shocking revelation, when we all saw it coming. When your big twist lands with a thud, you know you screwed up. Travis Marshall is a weak villain. Let's be honest, Travis is one of Dexter's weakest villains.
No, I'm supposed to finish enacting the 7 keys.
He's not intimidating, he has no compelling backstory, and his motivation is just religion.
Hello, Jesus.
Compare that to the complexity of Trinity, or even Miguel Prado, and you see how uninspired this season's antagonist really is. Dumb character decisions and plot holes. Dexter somehow survives a massive explosion on a boat and just swims away like it's nothing. In a city of millions, Deb stumbles into Travis's hideout purely by luck. Dexter fakes his death. Again, in public. No one questions it, ever. And now we arrive at the most infamous portion of season 6, the moment Dexter should have lost its audience. The incest subplot with Deb. Inexplicably, the writers decide that Deborah secretly has a crush on her brother Dexter, her adoptive brother. This was never foreshadowed, never hinted at, just dropped on us out of nowhere because therapy isn't all therapy like that.
How the fuck am I supposed to trust you? You're my doctor.
And the backlash ended up being so bad, it really kind of fizzled in the next season. They learned some lessons from this train wreck. I guess if you're going to introduce something weird like this, at least commit to it. It takes away from the character when you just abandon it like that. And then there's the ending. Because of course, Dexter wins. Did it feel satisfying? Not really. Do you have fonder memories of it? Possibly. And why? Because it felt like something actually happened that was challenging. We'll get back to you on season 7 later about how that challenge paid off. Dexter's final kill is predictable, lacks weight, and as far as season 6 is concerned, has no real consequence. It's a gimmick to get you to watch next time. As far as the whole of season 6, what was that about? Tune in next time for us to finish this story. And worst of all, the season just wastes the best moment. Deb walking in on Dexter killing Travis. This should have been huge. The problem is they kind of toyed around with it just a season earlier, except there was something in the way between Deb realizing that Dexter was doing something so horrible. But because this season was so disappointing, it felt like the writers just threw this in as a reason to get us excited about the next thing. Maybe to salvage whatever it is of this season you want us to remember. Final thoughts. So there you have it, season 6 of Dexter, a season that could have been great, but instead was a mix of missed opportunities, lazy storytelling, and one really bad romance subplot. So by season 6, Dexter is primed for a real crisis of belief. Instead of just dismissing religion outright, this could have been a season where he's truly tempted by faith, but the writers just don't give him any real reason to reconsider his worldview. Just man of science, her. Season 6 might have been a misstep, but season 7? Well, that's when things really started falling apart, especially at the end. So if you thought this was bad, just wait. Next time we're talking about Dexter season 7, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. Wait until you see the Dexter-Deb situation play right out. I'm of the mentality that season 6 of Dexter, if you're watching 1 through 6 at that moment, was the worst thing that this show had put up as of that moment. If season 5 was the beginning of the end, season 6 certainly was the end times. But season 7? Thank you to those of you who stuck all of this out. I've been Charles, otherwise known as Sipo. Please click the subscribe and thumbs up button. If you've stayed this long, consider contributing my Patreon. And what were your thoughts on season 6? I'm really curious to hear people who enjoyed this season, and more importantly, why. We'll see you soon enough to talk about season 7.